Thank you for attending my PowerPoint presentation about No Game, No Life, the 12 years of suffering. Okay, so we are all gathered here today because we share a very specific, very deep emotional scar that has been open and bleeding for over 12 long years. It is a safe place where we can all admit that we have a problem, and that problem is an anime from 2014. Let us take a quick trip down memory lane to the year 2014 when everything in the anime world was bright and beautiful. A famous animation studio named Madhouse released a show that was absolutely stunning to look at. It had crazy neon colors, genius step-siblings who literally never lost a single game, and random giant chess pieces floating in the sky for some reason. We all fell completely in love with this weird world, we memorized all the rules, and then the season ended on a massive cliffhanger that changed our lives forever. And then after that amazing finale, absolutely nothing happened for the next 12 years. We were left standing in the rain, waiting for a second season that has basically become the Bigfoot of the anime world. Many of us have spent the last decade huffing pure hope and looking at fake internet rumors, convinced that the next random announcement would finally be the one. We became experts at finding hints in every single social media post, even when there was absolutely nothing there to find. So today we are going to look at the real story and talk about what is actually going on. We are going to discuss the physical, emotional, and mental toll of waiting for a sequel that might honestly never show up. Don't worry, because this is a completely safe space where nobody is going to judge you. We are allowed to laugh at ourselves, we are allowed to cry about our broken dreams, and most importantly, we are allowed to complain as loudly as we want. The timeline of despair. To truly understand how long we have been waiting, we need to look at actual human history since April 2014. A whole lot of things have changed in the real world since Sora and Shiro first stepped into the fantasy world of Discord. Honestly, it is a little bit scary when you actually sit down with a calendar and count the years that have passed us by. The world has moved on, technology has changed, and yet here we are, still holding on to a dream from over a decade ago. Think about how crazy the timeline is when you put it into real perspective. Kids who were literally in kindergarten when Season 1 first aired are now old enough to drive cars, go to college, and pay actual taxes to the government. We have lived through giant world events, watched entire social media apps rise and fall, and upgraded our phones 10 times over. Yet we're still sitting in the exact same spot on our couches, waiting for this specific show to continue. What makes it even worse is that other dead anime shows have actually come back to life during our waiting period. We watched legendary shows like Bleach and Spice and Wolf rise from the grave and get brand new seasons after years of absolute silence. Every single time another old show gets a sequel announcement, a tiny part of every No Game, No Life fan's soul dies just a little bit. We look at those other fan bases celebrating, and we just feel like the universe has completely forgotten about us. Meanwhile, what have we been doing with our lives while everyone else gets their favorite shows back? We have just been sitting here, staring at the ceiling, waiting for an animation studio to remember that the color pink still exists in their color palette. It has been a decade of pure endurance, and honestly I think we deserve some kind of physical medal just for surviving this long without losing our minds. We are the champions of waiting, even if we did not want to be. The serious truth. We need to get the real business facts out of the way so we can go back to making fun of ourselves. It turns out, there are actual business reasons and real-life health problems behind this massive delay, and it is not just because the universe hates us. Once we understand this, it is a lot easier to accept the long wait. First of all, we have to talk about the creator of the original books, Yu Kamiya, who has had a very tough time. Shortly after Season 1 came out, he faced some really stressful copyright issues that temporarily slowed down his workflow. More importantly, he has dealt with serious, chronic health problems that made it physically difficult for him to write new books for several years. Since the anime is based entirely on his books, we cannot have a show without him writing the source material first. On top of that, we have to talk about the animation studio, Madhouse, and how they operate. They are an amazing studio, but they are famous in the anime community for loving first seasons and historically ignoring second seasons. They also have to worry about the actual budget, and animating the specific show is incredibly expensive because of all those complex, hand-drawn neon outlines on every single character. It takes way more time and money to draw the show than a standard high school anime. So, when you combine creator health issues, studio habits, and extremely high animation costs, you get the perfect storm for a 12-year delay. It is not that the people in charge hate the show or think it is bad, it is just that the physical world made it as hard as possible to produce. The next year for sure cycle. Put that all aside now, let us talk about the painful yearly ritual that every single fan of the show goes through. It is a vicious cycle of hope and disappointment that happens every single year, and yet we never seem to learn our lesson. We basically put on full clown makeup annually, and we do it with absolute pride because we love the pain. We are trapped in a loop, and we are completely okay with it. Step 1 of this painful cycle always starts on social media, usually on a random Tuesday. Some random account with an anime profile picture will tweet an image of Sora and Shiro with a caption that says, "Huge news coming soon." We immediately lose our minds, share the post with all our friends, and start telling everyone that Season 2 is finally happening. We do not check the sources, we do not think logically, we just believe it instantly. Especially every April Fools. Then comes step 2, which is the actual live announcement event that we all stay up late to watch. We tune in with full excitement and popcorn, only to find out that the huge news is just a new mobile game collaboration or a plastic figure that costs $300. It is never the actual anime that we want. It is always a keychain, a pillow, or a special edition book cover that we cannot buy anyway. This leads us directly to the final step of the cycle where we cry, get angry, and swear that we will never fall for the rumors ever again. We promise ourselves that we are done with the hope, and that we are going to move on with our lives. And then, literally 3 months later, someone posts another random rumor and we immediately do the exact same thing all over again. We are trapped in the loop and we are ready to be hurt again. The 2017 bait. In the year 2017, we all thought our long prayers were finally answered by the anime gods. The studio announced a brand new movie called No Game No Life, Zero, and the hype in the community was absolutely unreal. We bought our tickets, we sat in the crowded theaters, and we prepared ourselves for the direct continuation of our favorite story. We thought this was the stepping stone that would lead us straight into Season 2. And to be completely fair to the studio, the movie was an absolute masterpiece of animation. It had incredible music, amazing fight scenes, and a story that was so sad it made grown adults cry like bobbies in public. It is genuinely one of the best anime movies of the last decade, and we loved every single second of it while we were watching. It showed us what the studio could do when they really tried. But it was also the ultimate bait-and switch of our lives, and it left us with a lot of mixed feelings. Instead of continuing the story from where Season 1 left off, the movie took us 6,000 years into the past. It was a prequel story about characters who looked exactly like Sora and Shiro, but were actually completely different people who ended up dying. It did not resolve the cliffhanger at all, it just gave us more questions. It was basically like going to a fancy restaurant, ordering a massive steak, and being told they are completely out of meat. But here is a world-class salad from the historical archives instead. We ate the salad, we loved the salad, but we left the restaurant feeling even hungrier than before we walked in. It was a beautiful detour, but it did not give us the main course we have been begging for. Conclusion. In conclusion, being a fan of this show has been a wild, painful, and hilarious ride for all of us. A decade of waiting is an incredibly long time in the anime world, but the fact that we are still talking about it today shows how special this show really is. We are still here, we are still loud, and we are not going anywhere anytime soon. Our loyalty is unmatched, and that is something to be proud of. There is actually some real light at the end of this very long, dark tunnel if we look closely. The creator is writing books again, his health is much better, and the fan community is still one of the loudest on the internet. As long as we keep buying the books, talking about the characters, and complaining online, the dream is never truly dead. We are keeping the spark alive, and eventually someone in the industry will have to listen to us. Let us remember the basic rules of the world of Discord that we fell in love with. The most important rule of all is that blank never loses, and we need to apply that to ourselves as fans. Our ultimate pledge is that we will not lose our hope no matter how many more years we have to wait for that trailer to drop. We will keep waiting, we will keep hopping, and we will win this game in the end. So I want everyone to raise their hands, wear your imaginary clown makeup with absolute pride, and let us say the iconic magic word one more time together. Ashent. Thank you so much for listening to my support group meeting, and please keep praying for Season 2 because we need all the help we can get.